Now, a new report by the UN has found that almost two-thirds of those who join extremist groups in Africa are pushed by some sort of government action or inaction. Deprivation, marginalization and weak governance are just some of the push factors cited in the report by the UN Development Programme. The report also found that those with a lower level of religious education were more likely to join Islamic extremist groups than those who studied more. Now, of those interviewed, 71% said it was some form of government action that was the tipping point that triggered their final decision to join an extremist group. Now, some 80% of recruits said they joined within a year of introduction to the extremist group, and nearly half of them joined within just 1 month. Now, out of those who cited religion as a push factor, 57% admitted to understanding little to nothing of the religious texts or interpretations, or not reading religious texts at all. Well, let's bring in one of the authors of the report. Mohamed Yahya is the Regional Program Coordinator for United Nations Development Program Africa. Thanks for taking time to talk to us. There's always been a huge assumption that the main push factor for people who join extremist groups is religion. Were you surprised by your findings?
Absolutely. I think one of the most fascinating part of the report is exactly that. With the growing Islamophobia in the world and the question of religion, I think this report shows clearly that although many point to religion as the reason to joining, but when you ask them how much you know about the religion, how much have you read, what is the understanding of the text or interpretation of the text, the figures were quite shocking, yes.
Quite shocking, you say. And a bit of the blame, a lot of the blame, rather, has been placed on governments and their reaction to, you know, these fighters, these extremist groups. What are the things that governments are doing that are actually promoting extremism?
I don't think the report necessarily says the governments are promoting extremism, but what the report says is when we ask them what was the transformative impact that made you want to join, having had other things? Because this is a journey, it's not something that one does overnight. It's a conducive environment that they live in, the education level they have, the life experiences they've had, the economic opportunities they've never had, and even geography plays an important role. Periphery, border areas is where most of the recruitment is happening. Then the last part is the tipping point, and that is when government action of some form of government action seems to play a critical role. And here, I think the story is when security is applied in an insensitive manner, when human rights are ignored or rule of law is not followed, then those kind of action can become accelerators.
Now, you're talking about, you mentioned reassessing militarized responses to extremism, and I will quote, in the light of respect for the rule of law and human rights commitments. But do you honestly believe when a country is attacked, when people see their own people are being attacked, that they will actually think about human rights for the extremists?
Well, it's not in terms of what I see is what the evidence suggests. If what we are trying to do is reduce for people to join violent extremism, surely it's sensible to do to undertake actions that doesn't allow others or accelerate others joining. So the issue is how do we do it? What kind of formula do we apply? We have tried the only security approach for the last 20 years, and the results are striking. Obviously, there are more people joining than before. There are more attacks. So what is it that we do? And this report tries to shed some light. The issue is not to say that security has no role. It's merely to say that you can apply the security responses, but it has to be done within your own due process, with your own rule of law, in respect for human rights. That is essentially what the report is saying.
All right. Mohamed Yahya, Regional Program Coordinator for the United Nations Development Program Africa. Thank you for taking time to talk to us and focus on Africa. Thank you.